Ah, Crash Bandicoot. What happened to you? Well, many things. But those things are not what I'm here to talk about today. See, with the recent news of the first 3 Crash games being remade for the newer consoles, I thought it would be fun to go back to the original 3 games since I haven't done so in a while. This also meant that for the first time, I would be beating the very first Crash Bandicoot game, since I never did it as a kid. Or at least, I don't ever remember doing it as a kid. Well, you all know what today's video is, so how about we jump into a little game only known as Crash Bandicoot. Okay, I gotta be honest here. The story in this game is almost non-existent. I mean, there's a story, but it's not this whole big plot or anything. Crash seems to be a failed experiment created by the evil Dr. Cortex and Mr. Nitrous Brio. Crash, our main Bandicoot here, manages to escape from Dr. Cortex. But oh no, Cortex has a female Bandicoot and he's gonna do something, I guess. That pretty much sets up the entire plot for this game. Crash now has to head back to Cortex's lab and rescue the female Bandicoot, who I'm sure has a name, but they never tell you. Also, I really don't care. Also, why does Crash want to rescue her? I mean, from what I've heard from other people, I thought it was his girlfriend or something, which does kind of get shown a little bit later, but nothing's really portrayed to us, the player. It's just there. Like, why is it there? Why is it a thing? Is it because other games did this? I don't know. Look, I'm just kind of rambling now, okay? Because there's really no plot left. Like, that's it. The section's gonna be like a minute and a half long. Why am I still talking? So the game, looking at it from a PlayStation 1 perspective, actually looks pretty nice in my opinion. Now, it's nothing groundbreaking or over the top, but I do like many of the uses of color throughout most of the stages. Even Crash himself distinguishes himself from the rest of the backgrounds and enemies, which makes him a lot easier to keep focus on. I mean, he's a big orange fur ball in the middle of the screen. How can you miss that? Now, one thing I think I haven't made really clear in some of my videos is that I love music in video games. It's actually the type of music that I listen most to, like when I'm working on a video, or when I'm at school, or even on the go. I'm always listening to video game music. Why am I bringing this up, you ask? Well, it's because Crash Bandicoot's soundtrack is meh. Now, don't get me wrong, it's actually quite good. My main problem is that I don't really remember any of the tracks. None of them were really memorable to me. So while I'll be banging my head to the music while I'm playing the game, if you ask me to sing or hum one of the songs from it, I wouldn't be able to. Unless it's the main theme, because okay, that song is catchy as fuck. So not bad, just not memorable. That's all. And now we move on to the gameplay. Now, as you can see from the footage, Crash Bandicoot is a 3D platformer. And let me just say that this came out, I believe, in the dark ages when Sony's controllers didn't have analog sticks. So that meant the game can only be played using the D-pad. And let me tell you, this is not good. I did get used to it after a while, but oh goodness, it just didn't feel right. Another gripe I had with the game is the angle that the camera is in for most of the game. Now, from what I remember, the camera stays pretty much the same in the later game, but in a lot of the levels in Crash Bandicoot, there will be many platforms that you have to leap across. Now, the only problem is the camera gives me a false sense of distance between I and the platform, because I feel of how it was positioned. I thought that I would have enough distance between me and the platform, but I would just end up missing. Originally, I was going to blame the game on this, but after playing a bit more, I felt like it may just be me. I've always had a bad depth perception, so maybe it is just me being me, and that's why I won't really talk about it much. But then again, maybe it is the camera as well, or just the way I view the camera. It's a little bit different, but hey, different strokes for different folks, am I right? What I can give too much trouble, though, is the draw distance in some of these levels. Now, okay, look, I know that this game was made in the early stages of the PS1, but come on. Look at this. Now, I know a lot of times when people compare 3D platformers, they usually refer to Mario 64. And to me, it's a bit unfair that I compare the two, because they are so different. But for a game that came out only a few months prior, it does a much better job at showing all of the level. Now again, I know it's only a few stages that do this, but these stages were some of the hardest in my opinion because of this. And again, maybe I'm being a bit of a downer when it comes to this, and maybe it's just me, but it did bother me, and I'll leave it at that. The way you go from level to level is based on this world map, a la DKC style. Wow, really, Matt? 2 Nintendo games in one video. Good job, that's gotta be a record. But yeah, that is the easiest thing I can compare it to. It's a little bland, but this was Naughty Dog's first attempt at this, so it's not that big of a deal in my eyes. And of course, one of the last things I'm gonna talk about are the boss fights, and yes, most of these fights are pretty easy. Now, even for me, for a guy who has no recollection of playing this game, I found them to be pretty darn easy. There was 1 or 2 where I had a bit of trouble, but after like 2 or 3 tries, I found a way to beat them, and they became easier than pie. Oh wait, actually before we head to the next section, I forgot about one thing, the save feature. This was the thing that made me mad the most. See, in this game, you have the option to save or use a password. Now both will keep your progress, but I had an issue with saving one, so I just stuck to using a password. This isn't too bad. However, you can't save whenever you want. The game usually auto-saves after a boss fight or something, or at least I think it does, and by collecting 3, okay, I need a name for her, so let's just call her, I don't know, Cindy or something. You need to collect 3 Cindy tokens in some levels in the game, and when you do that, you'll enter a bonus stage. This is a great way for you to get some extra lives, and when you reach the end, you'll find Cindy, and you'll go through the portal and get your password, and wait, what? What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be, like, kidnapped or something? Why am I on this journey if you're here? Why are you here? How are you here? What is the purpose of you being here? Why am I playing this game? After fighting all of Cortex's minions and making your way through the mountains and bridges and factories, oh my, you'll reach Cortex's factory. The last few levels are some of the hardest in the game, but if you find the way to bypass the obstacles, it won't be too difficult. Just take your time and be patient. These are things I wasn't, but yeah, do that and you'll be fine. After reaching the top of the lab, you begin your final battle with Cortex. Yep, it's pretty easy as well. All you have to do is hit his green energy ball back at him a couple of times, and boom, the fight is done. Crash celebrates his victory with girl in hand, and then credits. So, I gotta admit, I understand that this game means a lot to people. And to me, it's alright. I won't say it's amazing or anything, but I also won't say it was bad, because it really wasn't. I had a lot of fun playing the game, but some of the issues that I didn't mention kind of bothered me just a bit. But I understand that this is the first in the series, and maybe I'm a little spoiled for the fact that I played the first 2 a lot more. So take what I say with a grain of salt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments section below, or even if you didn't, I accept both. And if you want to see more from me in the future, make sure to click that subscribe button, and don't forget to click that little bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. My name's Minimatt, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.